Hello everyone, welcome back. It's probably only been like 10 seconds for you since you guys last heard my voice. Mutalisk once again on the move, coming back over here, perhaps trying to get a little bit more reinforcements. Spine crawler walking, almost like siege tanks, except it needs that creep tumor constantly to push out further and further. And once again, Mutalisk on the move, and now we have a fair number of Immortals. Immortals, not a smart counter, and perhaps he should try to focus down that one pylon as opposed to those photon cannons. And there we go, finally taking down that second photon cannon. 2 photon cannons going to be taken down. Down it goes, and now with the rest of that army once again reinforcing, not going to really be able to do much over there. Those Mutalisks still overhead and really wanting to just start doing some attacking, and now going after some of these probes, perhaps going to go after those gas probes, trying to stop the mining production out of that single assimilator. And those, once again, those Mutalisks able to pull back out. We have a fair number of Immortals and Sentries on this front door, going to be pushing back out. And once again, Mutalisk taking down more of these probes. Income count is already down to 32 Harvesters as opposed to Jeromeoh's 45. But that is a very, very heavy investment that Jeromeoh is doing at this stage. Army size is still at 110, but Head of State has a larger army at this stage because the number of Harvester difference. Taking a look back over here, are these Immortals really going to be able to push through and finish off the rest of this? However, there are no additional Stalkers. Are going to have a hard time against those Hydralisks, as those Stalkers are going to be able those Hydralisks do not get any additional damage, but nice use of force field coming in, and those Roaches unable to really do anything. So Head of State may be able to finish it off here. Those Sentries now, those Sentries able to continue to just push and push and push. More Guardian Shield being used, and Head of State just walking over with this very, very strong army at this stage. However, Sentries both sides taking heavy losses, and Jeromeoh down to 550 minerals in terms of this army. Gonna go ahead and take down this Overlord and continue to push. Roaches now trying to pull back, trying to get regathered. Taking a look at the production, we have 8 Roaches, and that is all. Roaches once again scurrying back out, trying to go after that Immortal. Immortal down to 1 hit point. Wow, the very, very low hit point Immortal. Finally getting clawed by a Queen, and Roaches once again engaging. Those Stalkers are a fairly good counter towards those Roaches, however. Sentries not dropping those force fields in the right position, and going to make it very difficult, as those Roaches are in fact able to move more quickly than Stalkers on creep. Trying to pull that Sentry back away. Zealots coming in. Once again, those Zealots, however, are not going to be a good counter towards those Roaches. However, we are going to lose a fair number of those Overlords, as those Overlords are just easy pickings now for the rest of this army. Nice use of a force field, once again taking down a lot of these Roaches. Roaches and Hydralisks unable to do any reinforcement. Drones, however, joining in on that fight, wanting to offer some of their assistance. And once again, a little bit of an engagement. Immortal on this backside, not really doing any fighting. Now trying to take down those Roaches. Roaches, however, coming from over here. So the expansion down over here, now joining in on that production. And now the army balance has been neutralized or evened out. So 1,300 for Jeromeoh against 900 for Head of State. Gonna probably lose a single Stalker. Leaving a lot of very low hit point units behind. Very, very bad move by Head of State in this situation. Taking a look back at the Harvester count, and the mining, we have mining at 900 minerals a minute versus 1,300 minerals by Jeromeoh. So Jeromeoh able to replenish that army much more quickly. Roaches once again on the move. Not quite sure why this Queen doesn't drop a creep tumor as well in order to try to get those Roaches deployed much more quickly, unit-wise and army-wise. 2050 versus 2050 versus 600 at this stage. Drones now being transferred from the main base to the natural expansion over here, or the expansion over here at the 5 o'clock position. We do in fact have a warp prism now, so a warp prism gonna be able to pick up some of those units, and perhaps why did it pick up a probe? Probably did not want to pick up the probe. This is not the droid you wanted to pick up. He probably wanted to pick up an additional Stalker, so we'll see how that is really going to affect his whole entire harassment. Probably wants to take down this Queen and this hatchery down over here and make sure that the economic advantage gets evened out a little bit more. Income-wise, still 1,300 versus 1,000, and that warp prism making its way very slowly over here, as we have an observer by Head of State. Mutalisk once again coming in, doing a little bit more harassment. Stalkers and sentries trying to push it back. That Mutalisk is now stuck up high in those trees and gonna be able to fight back a little bit more. Down goes one Mutalisk, another Mutalisk getting taken down, and wow, no, Head of State picking up that probe on purpose in order to get an expansion down over here, as there is an Immortal and a Stalker once again a little bit on this engagement. That Warp Prism should go ahead and turn into that phasing mode in order to just deploy additional reinforcement and take down this hatchery. This hatchery already down to 500 hit points, as now we have drones and roaches coming in, and really just a bad play by Head of State. Head of State, will he be able to take down this hatchery? Down it goes, and now able to pick up that Warp Prism. The phase prism, or sorry, like the warp prism, able to pick up the Immortal and that Stalker at that last moment. Jeromeoh now quickly putting down another hatchery in order to, start mining out of here once again. We have a fair number of cannons already down on this island expansion on the bottom right side. Roaches and Hydralisks, do we have any upgrades? Yes, 1-1 upgrades for the Roaches and the Hydralisks. Drones walking very, very far in order to just drop off those 5 minerals, and then going to be turning around and on the move once again. Hatchery taking a look back over here. We have a single Dark Templar in position over here in order to perhaps take down any expansion as well. Single Dark Templar over there as well. I do not see any Overseers. So those Dark Templars, sorry, finally an Overseer overhead. Dropping those Dark Templars. Those Dark Templars getting dropped in, and that's in a bad position for those to be dropped, as those Dark Templars now trying to run down that ramp and perhaps take down. Is he able to see that one single Dark Templar somehow trying to run it away, still getting pushed around, and that Overseer able to finally catch him. Back over here, those Dark Templars getting a fair number of kills though, getting 2 or 3 kills each, and now down they go as those Dark Templars are revealed by an Overseer. So now we have 3 Overseers all throughout the map. One single Dark Templar by Head of State as well, trying to take down this hatchery. There is in fact the Warp Blade upgrade, so the Dark Templar doing 50 damage a swipe towards that hatchery. A large amount of damage. I do not see any Overseers coming in just yet, so he may in fact lose this hatchery again. 300 minerals lost at the cost of 1 Dark Templar, and in comes that Overseer. Dark Templar once again trying to pulling back away. Hydralisk sees their target, wants to take it out, and will in fact be able to find it. So Dark Templar trying to run, trying to hide, trying to play hide and go seek, sitting there. This is the double scythe template for that Dark Templar, and that is now a dead Dark Templar. Colossus once again on the move as well. Colossus trying to take down these destructible rocks. Not quite sure if he thinks he really will be able to hold this expansion, as that expansion is fairly close to Jeromeoh. Jeromeoh will be able to keep constant pressure on that expansion, and that will be a very, very difficult expansion for Head of State to even try to hold for very long. Pylon now being worked in. Oh, and a lot of changelings getting taken down. So in come these Roaches. Nice force field coming in as well, but Roaches coming in from that backside, and wow, this is really, really bad positioning. Nice flank. Colossus on that high ground continuing to offer their assistance, and now in come those sentries with those force fields able to push that attack back once again. Single changeling on the ground right there, offering a little bit of sight. Jeromeoh probably should recognize that as a changeling as soon as you click on it. Down it goes. And once again, drones is still doing that that long march. Hatchery being built into position here and here. So Jeromeoh now going to be mining out of 3 mineral expansions. The main starting location has already been mined out. Single Dark Templar still on the move, trying to figure out where he in fact can go. Only 4 measly mineral patches left in the main base, and wow, only 7 mineral patches left at the natural expansion as well. So both players running out of resources. Head of State needs to start expanding some more, as Jeromeoh is now mining out of 2 locations, essentially, will be mining out of 3 locations, essentially compared to Head of State's 2. Stay tuned for part 3 of this replay between Head of State and Jeromeoh here on Lost Temple.